Hello everybody! Normally tonight is when I would be playing some MechWarrior 5 with my brother, and we would be having a chaotic time going through the campaign and such, but we were unable to play this week. So I figured I'd take a time to play a different game. One that I actually personally enjoy a lot, and that I just want to share with you guys, because it's a fun little hobby that I love. So, some of you guys may already know, if it wasn't already evident by my last game stream related to Pokemon, I do enjoy Pokemon a lot. I have basically grown up with the franchise, and part of that growing up involved Pokemon TCG, or Pokemon trading cards, and playing the trading card game. Now, I admittedly stopped playing the trading card game probably around 2010 through 2011, maybe even 2012. But I got back into it over the last year, and it's been a lot of fun. It's something that's always been a really positive memory for me, and it just feels great to get back into it. Besides being a collector of Pokemon cards myself, I'm not a super in-depth crazy collector like some folks that I know and have been friends with, but I enjoy collecting the shiny cards here and there. It's part of the fun of the trading card game. However, I have been getting more into actually playing the game and taking part in contests and stuff. However, I don't see myself as a very competitive individual. I don't think I'm going to be partaking in city championships or regionals or anything like that. I did that when I was a kid, and it's just a whole nother ball game when you get to that level. But I do still really enjoy the game, and I found that I really, really enjoyed teaching people how to play it. I go to a local game store and I teach kids every weekend how to play the game, and I talk to the parents about the different benefits of playing the game. If you guys are interested in hearing more about that side of things, I'm always ready to talk about it. In any case, I enjoyed it so much I actually applied to become a Pokemon professor, and I was successfully accepted by the Pokemon Company after a background check in order to be a Pokemon professor. Which means that I can judge competitions and tournaments for Pokemon TCG. There's different certifications for different parts of Pokemon if you want to be a part of that. I know there's a Pokemon VG, or video game judge certification. I will not be pursuing that one because I just don't play the video game competitively, and I'm not really a part of that window of Pokemon competitive play. And there's also tournament organization certification, something that I'll probably be pursuing as well. And also, I think more recently, I'm not sure if it's out yet, but there's going to be Pokemon Go judges to be certified, because Pokemon Go competitive events are a thing as well. As you guys know, the series, or you might not know, the Pokemon World Championships this year are going to be hosted in Yokohama, Japan, which is the first time the Pokemon TCG game has ever been hosted in Japan, which is quite shocking. You would think that in 25 plus years, the Pokemon game would have had a tournament in its homeland, but no, this is actually going to be the first year they're hosting it in Japan. But I'm getting really, really off track. I just really enjoy talking about the Pokemon TCG. I really love playing it, and I figured that we could spend tonight, instead of canceling the stream, but we could spend it learning about Pokemon TCG. And if you guys enjoyed this kind of gameplay and want to see me talk more about this, you can feel free to let me know in the chat or in the comments if you're watching on YouTube, and I'll be happy to show some more of this. But first, let's talk about Pokemon TCG Live, the program, as well as a different version of it that some of you may have been familiar with in the past. So Pokemon TCG Live is not Pokemon TCG Online. I just want to clarify that straight up. So Pokemon TCG Online was around for years and years, since I was a kid. It was a way for you to play Pokemon TCG Online, as the name implies. And you could earn coins and tournament tickets and stuff like that, and collect cards on this online app. It was very stable, it was very good. Over time, it became outdated and a little confusing for folks. They added more to it, but it was around time for a refresh, which is where Pokemon TCG Live comes in. I am on Pokemon TCG Live. Now, this entered open beta near the beginning of this year. I got into the beta program, I think, towards the end of last year. It is, unlike the Pokemon TCG Online, you can also get the app for your phone and any compatible tablet. Before, it used to be that Pokemon TCG Online only operated either on your desktop or very specific tablets. So that was a really nice welcome change for me because I tend to play this game on the go more than anything else. I'm on the desktop client, by the by, and as you can see, I am on the home page. There are some really important key differences from Pokemon TCG Online to Pokemon TCG Live that I'd like to talk to you guys about, namely collecting cards as well as transferring your data. So Pokemon TCG Online is going offline. The last pack or expansion pack that was ever released on Pokemon TCG Online was Pokemon TCG Crown Zenith, which was the end cap release for Sword and Shield era of Pokemon TCG. We're now in Scarlet and Violet. Scarlet and Violet just released. And as a result, you're not going to be able to get Scarlet and Violet or redeem Scarlet and Violet cards onto your old Pokemon TCG Online account. Instead, there is an option for you to migrate your data from Pokemon TCG Online to Pokemon TCG Live. That'll let you keep your collection for the most part. There's a very big caveat to this. And just move over any decks you have and such into Pokemon TCG Live so that you can further have access to these collections that you've built up. Now, the main caveat that gets a lot of people in migrating their data is that you can't have more than 4 cards of literally any Pokemon card in the game. So if you were somebody who just happened to have a lot of Pokemon cards in the old game TCG Online, so you had like 16 Bidoofs for whatever reason, you're only going to have 4 of that Bidoof in this new game. I can't say what happens to the rest of the cards. I don't know if they just vanish or if you get credits for them. I honestly can't remember because I did mine a while back and the process may have changed slightly since then. So I'm not going to really guarantee that. But just know you're only ever going to have 4 of any card. Hello, Boreal. We're playing some Pokemon TCG tonight, but I'm just going over some of the differences here. Now, the other thing is how the shop and stuff work, but we're going to go into this one by one, and if you guys have any questions, you can feel free to ask them as we go along. So, I'm on the homepage, and I'm on the casual side. When you first enter the game, you're going to be placed on this ranked side, where you can play for ranking points and climb the ladder to earn rewards. As you can see, I'm in Score Bunny League, but I started all the way back here in Quick League in Togepi. As you win games, you will climb the rankings until you enter Poke League, which is separated by these 4 Pokemon. Now, once you enter Poke League, the battles you win will be more impactful, but also, if you lose, you're going to go down in ranking. So when you're doing Quick League, as far as I'm aware in Quick League, you don't lose as much ranking, or you don't lose any ranking when you just lose in general. This is just for you to start climbing. But once you enter Poke League, it becomes more skill-based ratings and such. There's a whole set of leagues that are separated by the type of Pokeball that you can climb up. So this Great League, then there's Ultra League, and finally there's Master League. And depending on what league you're in, at the end of the ladder, you get a reward for that league. So you can check the rewards by clicking the reward box. In this case, 750 credits, jewels, and some exclusive gear. Yeah, I collected the cards a long time rather than playing it a lot. I just got into playing it more recently, and I find that I just really enjoy helping others learn how to play, more than competing. So, that's what I like to do. But I'm in Poke League, and I got my rewards for this, so that was pretty neat. And at the end of the ladder, when I start the next ladder, I'm going to be starting... In my experience so far, I just start at the same ladder I ended the last league at, so I'll get the rewards for next ladder's league, which I believe... Yeah, it's in 4 weeks, so you can see the timer right here. And then there's an information on ranked mode here that you can read as you need. The only decks you can use in ranked are standard decks. Standard decks refers to decks using cards that are in current rotation for legal tournament play. There is also an expanded format, but there's no ranked for expanded format. Expanded format might be more similar to historic format in TCG Online. I could be misrepresenting that completely, but expanded format lets you use the cards from Black and White going forward to compete against each other and just have fun. There is an expanded beta that you can click on and take part of if that's more your speed. But I tend to play just in standard. Casual is a new tab in my experience. I haven't seen this tab before. When I first started playing, I was straight up and ranked all the time. But casual is just it's non-ranked, but it lets you collect progress on your levels and your battle pass. You just don't get any ranking points for it. So if you just want to try out a deck without the pressure of losing your ranking points and you want to go against somebody, a living, breathing person, then going on standard casual might be the way to go for you. Or if you're just an expanded fan, expanded is in beta right now. You can try it here. So after you check that out, the homepage, you can get started and stuff. You're obviously going to need a deck. Now, admittedly, Pokemon tends to work in the sense that, did you buy a deck in person? Well, the deck usually brings a card that you can use to redeem that deck online. However, with the release of Pokemon TCG Live, you don't necessarily have to buy a deck just to be able to play TCG Live on the online version anymore, because the game actually provides you with decks to use. Since Scarlet and Violet released, I'm going to show my valid decks only. Since Scarlet and Violet released, several decks were also released for you to use automatically. These are decks for you to just have and play the game with. And they're actually fairly competitive. Unlike theme decks, which tend to come in a really basic format and are made to help kids learn, or any other individual really. You can play Pokemon at any age. They are to help new prospective players learn to play the game. There are also league decks that are more competitively built for players ready to try and take on advanced strategies. And they're differently themed here. Most of them have a backer card that shows what type they are, but you can always change this. You can change this to whatever you want. I tend to leave the basic decks with their backer cards, so that way I know more or less what they are, and I can go back to it. These decks here that you see, using different sleeves and boxes, are just sleeves and boxes that I have collected over time, and decks that I've built or collected that I just wanted to customize for myself. My current active deck is one that I call Thunder Basin, and it's based off of Miraidon. I've had a lot of fun building this deck and testing this deck, and I'm excited to bring it to the card store and try it there. But before I get too into that aspect of my hobby, let's talk about deck building. Standard involves building a deck of 60 cards. If your deck is good for standard, it'll show up here. I have show valid only here. And it'll, generally speaking, if your deck is already good for standard, it's good for expanded. Because everything that rotates out of standard basically remains legal and expanded, so far. And then if I wanted to change what it looked like, I can go here. And you can see different items here. So there's a preview all button and a focus button. I'm looking at deck boxes, so I can look at a focused version of that where it just looks at the deck box. Card sleeves, and coins for flipping. Yeah, it's pretty simple, straightforward. Then of course you got your edit deck button. These are all my cards, but hey, say you want to use a specific card that you don't have. That's no big deal. Say I wanted another Alamomola. I can just go to the exchange here, and I'll use credits to exchange for cards. This pertains to the 3 currencies you have up here. For new cards, you're going to use credits for the most part. And then I can look at each, when I'm editing my deck, I can look at each tab separately, which is super helpful when you're trying to balance out your deck. So in my case, I have 19 Pokemon, 31 trainers, which is a lot of trainers, and 10 energy. And we're gonna get into a game soon so you guys can see how it works. We're gonna do an AI game and I'll show you guys the ropes more or less. But the nice thing is that when you start with Pokemon TCG online, TCG Live in this case, online was the old app. When you start with TCG Live, they provide you a deck, but they also have you walk through a tutorial on how to play the game. And they go through the basics of the game with you so that you know how to functionally play the game and are able to navigate the app and play through your first games. There are some rules that you'll sort of slowly learn as you play the game because the game won't allow you to do certain things, or the game will point them out to you as they become relevant. I'll try to be as structured as the game. I make no promises though. So, you can mark decks as a favorite by clicking the star here, and you can see this is currently set as my active deck, but if I wanted to use Rumble Peak, for example, I could just click set active for that one as well. We're going to use Thunder Basin though, because it's my favorite one. In any case, that's not the only thing that you can do when you go into TCG Live. You can compete against other players, you can make your own deck and go in casual against other players, but you also have a battle pass. Now, I know, we're all tired of freaking battle passes and all sorts of games, but I personally really like the way Pokemon manages theirs. Because they don't let you just buy it. You are not spending money, whether on physical product or online, to get these gems in order to buy your way to the battle pass. In fact, the only way you can earn these gems, as far as I have seen, are by competing in ranked and just playing the game. Every day you get 2 quests, and at least one of them will have a set amount of gems. I already completed mine, so you guys won't be able to see what those quests look like tonight. But they're generally fairly easy and doable, even if you're not in ranked. And you can get quest progress in casual play as well, so you don't have to feel pressured in gaining or losing ranking in order to complete these quests. In fact, you can even reroll quests for a very low cost to your currency, in order to have new ones if you don't like the quest you have, or if you don't think you can complete it, which is very nice. But in any case, to get the premium pass, you need to spend these crystals up here, these purple crystals. And you can have access to more premium rewards, or if you collect enough crystals, you can use them to get premium rewards and unlock 15 tiers as soon as you buy the pass. I'm slowly working my way up the crystals to get this premium pass plus later. I'm not sure if I'm going to get that far. I don't really play this game very obsessively. But I do have 9 weeks to get there. So I think I have more than enough time to get what I desire out of this. I'm currently on tier 10. As you can see, since I'm on the basic pass, I don't get these little rewards down here. But the nice thing is that I don't need those rewards in order to get rewarded for my play. So, when you first start out in tier 0, you start out with 7 booster packs, a whole 60 card deck for you to play with, and 1,250 credits that you can use to exchange for cards that you might want to add to your deck. Which, is more than most games just straight up give you. And this is stuff that they give you every battle pass for free, and then you can just earn more stuff as you go along. These booster packs, I should clarify, do not translate into physical product. Do not expect this game to mail you booster packs. It's just digital booster packs with cards that you can use. When it comes to TCG Live, please be aware booster packs only have 6 cards in them. That includes, going forward as far as I'm aware with Scarlet and Violet, that includes 2 holo foils, or parallel foils as they call it, 3 regular cards, and then 1 rare card of some kind. It could be just a rare card in general, or it could be a super rare card, an illustration rare card. And I'll show you what some of those might look like so you guys can tell the difference. But as you play the game, and you can do this casual or ranked, remember, as you play the game, you'll earn experience towards these additional tiers, and just earn more credits and booster packs. And then you'll notice that some of them give you some really specific cards. You might be wondering, why is that? Well, the 60 card that you're started with is actually the Miraidon deck, as they have presented it to you. That's not my Miraidon deck. Mine is built quite differently, but it is a really solid deck. And as you go along, they produce cards. They give you these specific cards, like another Miraidon or an electric generator, to add to that deck, so you can practice deck building as you play the game. And the more you play the game, the more cards you get to add to that deck. So Raikou is a really good 2-turn starter, and you can just earn them. You don't have to spend credits on them. You can just straight up earn them as you play the game, and I find that really rewarding. So by the end of the cards that you collect here, you'll have not only the deck, but the cards to power it up into a really competitive deck, which I find really appealing. And you don't have to power the deck up that way. So if you earn these cards and you decide, I don't want to run the deck like that, that's totally okay. The point is, it's to get you thinking about how to boost your deck and to help you provide an avenue to powering yourself up with some specific cards just for playing the game and learning how to play it and learning how to be competitive. And I honestly hugely respect Pokemon for that. Now, if you get the Premium Pass, you'll also notice there's some specific cards in here too, like Shadow Rider Calyrex. I don't remember what specifically... Okay, yeah, so there's another 60 card deck here that you're going to be expected to add these cards to. You don't have to add these cards to them, but they're just cards that help you power up this deck specifically into a more competitive and beneficial deck in general. You know, really cool. I'm just really happy with how they managed this battle pass. And again, there's no way for you to pay for these crystals and such, which in one way can be a headache. But in others, I think just makes it more fair. The only way you get these passes is by playing the game, and I think that's more than a fair trade-off, really, especially when you already buy their product and such like that. Now, what's the difference between credits and coins? Coins you can use to buy deck customization stuff. So there's some deck boxes and deck sleeves, some that are literally exclusive to TCG Live that you can use to customize your deck, and you need coins for those. You can earn coins by leveling up, not in terms of the battle pass, so I think the battle pass does give you some coins, yeah. But as you play, you level up your profile, and you'll get coins for that. So there you can see my character. And with these coins, you can also purchase other items to customize. So, like in the tops. It's a whole bunch of different clothing items you can earn your way through just by playing the game. Again, there's no real way for you to purchase coins. I mean, there is technically a way where you use crystals, but as you get crystals through gaming, it's really just all you gotta play for it, basically. But, then we have the shop. As you can see, everything here is crystals. All of it is crystals. You can't purchase these crystals, but if you decide that you don't want to spend on the premium pass, you just want to get a specific item or a specific set of customizable items, you can get them here. They actually have packs based on their current physical products. So currently released are the Galarian Trio Tins, which have the Galarian legendary birds, so Galarian Articuno, Galarian Zapdos, Galarian Moltres, and then they also have tournament packs released with Boss's Order cards as well. I'm trying to find the Cyrus one. I haven't been able to find it. Really sad about it because Diamond and Pearl was my jam and I would really like to have these sleeves. But online, at least it's there. It'll never be out of stock. And if you wanted to have the product, but you didn't want to buy the physical product, you could literally earn your way to it. So, genuinely no money needed to take part in this game. It will take you a bit to obviously earn your way to this, but it's an option. It is an option. And you can look at different products based on expansion. So Crown Zenith, this is what they have available for Crown Zenith. You could go all the way back to Evolving Skies and get boosters for that. And all these boosters cost crystals. And then any cards that you have, that you get from the booster packs that are more than what you can have already. So say you have like 4 Rayquazas for whatever reason. They just get converted to credits, and you can use those credits towards creating other cards to have in your deck. Boom! Easy peasy. Currency! You buy it with crystals! Basically everything you buy with crystals. And then you can use a camera to redeem things here. I don't have a camera connected, so it's not going to connect to anything. But that's when you redeem those special QR code cards you can get in most Pokemon physical product. But anyways, now that you guys know how to navigate the app, because I've been running back and forth on here like a chicken with my head cut off, we're actually going to get into the actual play of the game. And we're going to go ahead and test my Thunder Basin deck. We're going to test it because this puts me against an AI instead of a living player, and I don't have the stress of a timer telling me to make choices. But we'll also do some casual standard games so you guys can see how some of those go along, because the AI will literally sabotage itself before it does anything really effective against you. Constantly. So it's not a really good indicator of how well your deck works. Just keep that in mind. If you don't feel great about your deck and you're just constantly beating the AI, or the AI just keeps beating itself before you can beat it, like, don't feel bad. The AI is just self-sabotaging. But I still recommend using it to test your deck when you're starting out, because again, you can take your time with it, but also you can see how fast your deck is. In Pokemon TCG, as with a lot of trading card games, in my opinion, speed is a really big key there. There are some decks that are late stage hitters that you have to set up more, and that'll be very profitable for you. But in general, if you can set something up to hit by your second turn, you are golden. You are having the time of your life at that point. But let's go ahead and test this deck. This is a deck that I built, by the way. This is not the 60 card deck that I was provided. This is something I put together with cards that I already had. And as you can see, it's very trainer heavy. I have 19 Pokemon. I would like to add maybe one more Flaffy. I just don't have the spare credits to do that yet. But we're going to go ahead and give it a test. Hop right into it. It's worked out really well for me so far. And I find that certain cards in my deck I don't see a lot of people using, so there's always a surprise for me. So you can choose a coin and choose whether you flip heads or tails. This will change depending on who you're fighting, so sometimes the opponent will choose heads or tails, and then you'll just have to wait for that. Other times it'll be you. Now you start with 7 cards in your hand, and to set up, you have to make sure you have a basic Pokemon in your active spot. This is the Pokemon that's basically out there and fighting your opponent. I'm not going to add Mareep to my bench yet, because I'm still waiting to see what happens. So he had to mulligan. When you have a mulligan, you have to shuffle your cards back into your deck, and then your opponent gets to draw 1 extra card for each mulligan you took. So he had to do 1 mulligan, and he showed me his hand, and then shuffled it back into his deck. And the game automatically does mulligans for you, so even if he had to do... I had one opponent that had to do 4 mulligans to draw basic Pokemon. So yes, I got 4 cards to start my game with. Super huge advantage there. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and add a Mareep to my bench before we start, because I'm feeling more comfortable about it. Now, you can tap done to continue, but I just want to talk about the bench really quick. The reason it's a good idea to have a Pokemon on your bench is because if, for whatever reason, you do not, and this Pokemon out here in your active spot gets knocked out near the beginning of the game, you don't have backup Pokemon, you will automatically lose. That's just how it works. There's no drawing cards to put another Pokemon out there, nothing. You just lose. So generally speaking, even if you don't start with the full bench, I always feel good putting out an active Pokemon and then 1 in my bench. So we're going to go ahead and continue. They've got Seal and Horsey. And we're starting. So in Pokemon TCG Live, just so you know, you're typically timed in the actions you can take. There's a timer on this side of the field, and you can see there's a V-Star power button because V-Star cards are still tournament legal. This timer is set to 39 minutes because I have no time limit, basically. I can test my deck for however long I want to. But generally speaking, this will be ticking down. If you take long enough in your game, even if you don't ever lose out on a turn because the timer ran out for you in a turn, you will eventually run out of time here. So you generally want to make quick, decisive actions. And this goes for actual regulated tournaments as well. There is usually a time limit to get your Pokemon game done, and whoever at the end of the time limit, you guys get 3 turns to try and finish the game. And then at the end of those 3 turns, if nobody's been knocked out, it is considered a draw. Doesn't matter whether you have more prize cards than your opponent or less prize cards than your opponent, it is just a draw. In any case, I'm gonna go ahead and make the Stadium Beach Court. Stadium cards are persistent cards that remain in play even after your turn ends. They basically remain in play until somebody either destroys the stadium or replaces it with a stadium of their own. The important thing to keep in mind about stadium cards is that their effects, generally speaking, I can't say for all stadiums, but generally speaking, their effects impact both you and your opponent. So in my case, the retreat cost of each basic Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponent's, is 1 energy less. As you can see on Miraidon's card, its retreat cost, down on the lower right, is 1 energy. So he effectively has no retreat cost. Which is nice. It means I'm not discarding a card without necessity, essentially. And I'm gonna go ahead and use Miraidon's ability. Ability are special conditions that you can trigger on a Pokemon when the conditions are met, essentially, to get an effect out of them. So in this one, once during my turn, I can search my deck for up to 2 basic electric Pokemon and put them on my bench. Then shuffle your deck. Now I'm all about speed, so I want to get Raikou out there as fast as possible, and Regieleki. Both really good options. And we're gonna go ahead and retreat Miraidon to put Raikou out here. Now you'll notice Raikou also has a 1 energy cost that has been reduced to 0 because of Beach Court's presence. But that doesn't mean I can retreat Raikou right now and swap him out for Regieleki if I decide to change my mind, for example. Reason being, you can only retreat once per turn. So if I wanted to shift my Pokemon to the bench again, I'd have to have a switch or a cross switcher or an escape rope or any other kind of Pokemon card that basically says switch your active Pokemon with a bench Pokemon. I can no longer go to him and click retreat and then toss him back on my bench. This, to me, as far as I'm aware, is a rules change because last season you were able to basically just do that for free. But I'm not going to get too into that. I'm going to use his fleet-footed ability, which, unlike Miraidon's, has to be triggered in the active spot. So once during your turn, if the Pokemon is in the active spot, you can draw a card. I'm gonna get my extra card here, and it's an electric energy, which is perfect, because that's just what I need. Raikou's attack needs 2 energy, but I can only attach... I'm not teaching them war crimes, I'm teaching them how to play. I can only attach 2 electric... sorry, I can attach more than that, but I can only attack if I have 2 energy, and one of those energies has to be electric. Which is not going to be a problem for this deck, because this deck is pure electric. Now, I'm going to use Electric Generator here to try and get some energy out the top of my deck. And lucky us, in the top 7 cards of my deck, we found 1 basic electric energy. We're going to take that, and we're going to attach that to Miraidon, because I want to start setting him up as well. Now, I'm also going to get the Nest Ball, and I'm going to pull out Magnemite. Normally I'd pull out another Regieleki, but I need Magnemite specifically because I have a Pokemon.
I agree. These sound like war crimes. And not just because he bribed me with cookies. #ad.
Thank you, Lefty. But, I need Magnemite specifically because I have all the ingredients I need in order to get an evolution card I have in this deck for Magnemite. And it'll be really fun to get him out on the bench. So now that I've done basically everything I can, short of using an Ultra Ball, which I'm not going to use right now because of the conditions of that, we're going to end the turn. Alright, so a whole lot just happened there, and I'm not gonna go through all of it, but We're gonna be walking through some of those effects in a moment. The important thing is, he attached a water energy onto his Pokemon, and he was able to attack. As you may have noticed, I was unable to attack last turn. But even if I had the energy to attack, I wouldn't have been able to, because I went first. When you go first, you can't attack, even if you have the energy to. Unless the effect of a card or a Pokemon's effect itself says you can. So there's a Raichu V card that has a 1 energy attack that says if this is your first turn, you can use this attack, and it basically charges up your Raichu for the next turn, which is really cool. But in any case, now that it's back to my turn, I've had my Pokemon checkup, my Pokemon are okay, I can use abilities again. So we're going to use Fleet-Footed to draw a card. And we got another Beach Court, I don't need that. But you can see now that my hand is all trainers. Now, there's different kinds of trainers, but we're going to be playing something called a supported card in just a moment here. Trainers are basically cards that aren't Pokemon that have additional benefits. Cards that aren't Pokemon or energy at this point that have additional benefits. If there is a special energy that you have, those are referred to as special energy, I believe, is the actual official term for it. But basically any Pokemon that isn't any card that isn't a Pokemon or an energy card is going to be a trainer card. And there's 3 varieties, actually 4 varieties now. I have to correct myself. There's a supporter, there's an item, and then there's a Pokemon tool, which I can't show you right now, and stadiums. Stadiums stay in play. Items are consumables that you use to get specific effects. Supporters are cards that you can play once a turn. So I can play either Jacques or Arven, I can't play both, that have more powerful effects than items typically have. Now that Magnemite I mentioned, this is going to be really important. I'm going to play Jacques. And Jacques lets me search my deck for 2 evolution Pokemon. I reveal them and I put them into my hand. So whatever 2 Pokemon I choose, my opponent is going to see, and I'm going to have them in my hand. Use that information wisely, because sometimes you don't want to inform your opponent of what you're getting. In any case, I'm going to get Magnezone EX, and I'm going to get Regieleki VMAX. And we're going to go with that. Now, Magnezone is actually Magnemite's 2nd stage evolution. But because I have Rare Candy, I can skip that 2nd stage altogether. We're going to play Rare Candy. And now I have a Magnezone on my bench. Can't complain about that. Now, typically the Pokemon will have to have been on the bench for at least 1 turn in order to evolve. That applies to Rare Candy as well. If I had just put down Magnemite this turn, I wouldn't have been able to put Magnezone down this turn as well. That's why it was important for me to get Magnemite out last turn. And we're going to use Tandem Unit here, so that I can pull out my other Regieleki. Put this guy on the bench. And then we're going to put Regieleki VMAX down and evolve Regieleki V. VMAX are evolved forms of Pokemon V. That is just, in VMAX, it's the Dynamax version of the Pokemon. So the Dynamax mechanic from Sword and Shield is VMAX. In terms of V-Star, it's just a more powerful, generally speaking, version of the Pokemon V it's put over. But they generally have more health and more powerful attacks, but they have different caveats. V-Star Pokemon have V-Star abilities, which is why we have these V-Star buttons on the right here, which you can't see, I just now realized on my overlays covering them. But basically there's a button that tells you if the opponent has used their V-Star ability yet or not. V-Star abilities are really powerful once in a game abilities that you can use to try and gain an advantage over your opponent. VMAX Pokemon have a different caveat. They often have really powerful attacks or abilities or effects in general, but if they get knocked out, your opponent takes 3 prize cards. So that's half your game gone if you lose them. In exchange though, they usually have almost obscene amounts of health and abilities that you can set up in order to go at your opponent and be a real threat on the battlefield. V Pokemon, Raikou is a V Pokemon, cost you 2 prize cards if they get knocked out. So always pay attention to that when you're going against an opponent. what are you willing to risk for the win, and what are you willing to play in order to avoid taking the consequences of that risk. In my case, I have a lot of V Pokemon, so I have a lot of 2 price card Pokemon. Miraidon EX and Magnezone EX are from the Scarlet and Violet expansion, EX being the main feature of these expansions. They both cost 2 price cards as well, so they're like Pokemon V, except in the case of Magnezone and other evolution Pokemon, they require evolution. But as you can see, they're also fairly tanky. Miraidon is not as tanky as some other EX Pokemon at only 220 HP, but Magnezone is a monster at 330 HP. Now, you can see on the right, or sorry, on the left, we each have prize cards. When I knock out my opponent's Pokemon, they have, when I knock out my opponent's Pokemon, I can collect a prize card. This Pokemon right here is not a V Pokemon, it's not a VMAX Pokemon, it's not a V-Star Pokemon, it's not even an EX, it's just a regular basic Pokemon. So when I knock him out, I'm only gonna take 1 prize card. Which, you know, is part of the strategy. Do you play a deck that's mostly single prize cards, but not as swift as a V deck, or do you play a deck that is full of heavy hitters, but also really high price costs? It's called the price trade. We can go into that more if you guys are more curious about it. Now, as you can see, I can't do anything, but I can retreat him. Not that there's really any point to doing that right now, because he can't really hurt me this next turn, and I don't have a Pokemon out there ready to attack, essentially. So we're just gonna end our turn. Try to make sure you do as much as possible on your turn before you do anything else, before you end it. Because once you end it, that is a critical amount of time that you have spent building up. Oh, an energy surge. But first, I'm going to use my fleet-footed to see if I get a different card. Ah, basic energy. Perfect. We're going to do this. And then I'm going to use this energy surge, but not for the reasons you might be thinking. I have energy in my hand, but right now I'm going to use an Ultra Ball. I'm going to get rid of this Beach Court and this energy. And I'm going to get Flaffy. Flaffy has a special ability, this Flaffy anyways, has a special ability called Dynamotor. Flaffy is what I call a support Pokemon. Flaffy's never going to be up front trying to attack the other Pokemon unless I'm in really dire straits and I have literally no other option. It's a 90 HP Pokemon, but it has a really, really powerful ability that really cinches this deck together called Dynamotor. Dynamotor basically says, once during your turn, you may attach an electric energy card from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. As you may have noticed, I used an electric energy card and dumped it into my discard pile with that extra Beach Court I didn't need. So I'm going to use Dynamotor to bring it back and basically attach a second energy from my turn. And this is per Flaffy. This is not limited to just one effect per game, which certain abilities are. If I had 3 Flaffies, I basically have 3 Dynamotors I could use. In any case, we're going to use Arven for this turn, because I do need more energy. I'm going to use Electric Generator, though. It's a risky one, but I'm going to take it. And since he lets me get a Pokemon Tool, which is the 4th type of card I was talking about, I'm going to get Rocky Helmet. Pokemon Tools are cards that you equip to your Pokemon. You can only equip one to the Pokemon, and you can't replace it unless you use a different card to remove it, or your opponent destroys it, or some other effect discards it, basically. So I'm going to give Rocky Helmet to Raikou here, and whenever a Pokemon hits him, I can't show you right now because it's getting ready to attack, but whenever a Pokemon hits him, the Pokemon that has attacked him, even if it knocked him out, is going to take 20 damage. That might not seem like much to you, especially given the health of some of these cards, but honestly, it could really mean the difference between a knockout and just failing to get the opponent. We're going to use this Electric Generator. We got 2 basic energy cards. Awesome. And we can just attach these right away, so I'm going to put one to Miraidon, and then one onto Magnezone. And I've done basically all I can short of retreating my Raikou, which I'm not going to do. Instead, we're going to hit him with Lightning Rondo. This attack does 20 more damage for each bench Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's. But you might notice that the attack damage on this is ridiculous. 380 damage? There is not that many bench Pokemon on the field. Well, that's because Seal is 2 times weak to electric types. This is where weaknesses and resistances come into play. Raikou is 2 times weak to fighting type. But because Seal is weak to electric types by 2 times, that means the damage he takes from any electric type Pokemon is effectively doubled. And because Raikou is a basic Pokemon, he's also benefiting from Transistor before applying weakness and resistance. So, let's see here. Half of that, he was doing 190 damage before weakness and resistance. So, we're gonna hit him for 380 damage. Now, obviously, you're not always gonna know what your opponent's deck is going to be. I could be fighting a fighting type deck. I could be doing another electric type deck, so on and so forth. But it's really satisfying in some ways when you do end up against a deck you are typically strong against. Alright, so you saw that? He put a new stadium down. It's called Lake Acuity. Lake Acuity says all Pokemon that have any water type or fighting type energy attached, both mine and my opponent's, take 20 less damage from attacks from the opponent's Pokemon. So if I had water energy attached, I would also benefit as much as he does. But now it's our turn again. And let's see, I'm gonna do fleet-footed real quick. You know what? Why not? Let's play Professor's Research. I'm going to discard my hand and draw 7 cards. Cool! I got the card I was aiming for, which was Regieleki VMAX. Now, this is going to get ridiculous. Because Regieleki's Transistor can stack. So, I have 2 Regieleki VMAX with Transistor, which says basic electric Pokemon attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon before applying weakness and resistance. So now I have basically an additional 60 damage before accounting for weakness and resistance. So my Raikou went up to 400 damage against water-type Pokemon, 200 damage against non-water-type Pokemon. Now, the thing with Raikou, right, and this is something that you can use to counter it. Raikou's moves depend on bench Pokemon, and it counts for both mine and my opponent's Pokemon. With my deck, my whole goal is to fill up my bench as soon as possible. So my Raikou's gonna come out swinging already pretty hard. But you can somewhat lessen that damage by not filling your bench immediately. If you have Pokemon in your hand that can go onto your bench, doesn't necessarily mean it's a good idea to put it out there just yet. I actually fought a few opponents that did that, where they had Pokemon that they had in their hand that could come out and fight me, but they didn't put them down on the bench yet to set them up because my Raikou was still a threat on the field. So that's just something to keep up with there. We still can attach an energy for this turn, so I'm going to go ahead and attach second energy to Magnezone. Now I have 3 Pokemon set up for battle, which is really good. This is the goal. You want to have as many Pokemon set up as possible for battle. We're going to use Lightning Rondo again. Goodbye, Kingdra. And now I get to choose another prize card. Even though that Pokemon was evolved, it is still a single prize Pokemon. So now all he has left is Manaphy, and apparently nothing else to do. Because these AIs will literally do everything possible in a turn, even if it's not to their benefit. Do they have a switch card? They'll use a switch card. Do they have boss's orders? They'll use a boss's orders. Do they have energy search? They'll use an energy search. Basically, as much as possible, they'll try to do in a deck. In a turn, if the system lets them. Right, so did fleet-footed, another Rocky Helmet. We can attach that to Miraidon. I've already won this game, but just to go through the motions. We're gonna go ahead and use Miraidon's move. So you can see Lightning Rondo is down to 340 now. That's because he doesn't have any bench Pokemon. so my damage naturally goes down. He removed my beach court, so I have a retreat cost again. Can pay that. Put this back on the bench, and we're gonna put Miraidon out there. And then we can just dynamotor this electric energy back. And then the Photon Blaster! 540 damage! Eat it! Eat all of it! And now, you see, I still have 3 prize cards, but I've won the game, because he's run out of Pokemon. No bench Pokemon for backup. And that's a Pokemon game in a nutshell, really. I know that was a lot to go through, but it is a really fun game. And I encourage you that if you're looking into learning how to play, TCG Live is a fantastic way to do it. Because, again, the system, generally speaking, won't let you do something you can't do. It won't let you retreat Pokemon multiple times. You won't be asking how many energy to discard. The system more or less does all of the upkeep work for you, and it's just a great way for you to learn how to play the game in an environment that's generally safe and friendly to do. You don't want to go against actual players? Congrats, you can just test your deck however many times you want and go against the AI. But honestly, as far as games go, playing on casual standard is not really that hard or really that intimidating. There's no chat. There are emotes that people can use, but I've rarely seen players use them. And it's just generally fun. So we're gonna do one more match in casual standard so that you guys can see how that plays out. And then we'll call it a night here. But thank you guys for sitting here and I guess listening to me talk about this, this whole thing endlessly. I really do enjoy Pokemon. And if you guys want to see more Pokemon TCG play, please feel free to let me know. I don't mind at all. Alright. I'm not going to be doing as much explanation this time around because I am timed. So, we're just going to hop right into it. I won the coin flip, so yes, I will go first. Ooh. Ooh, B. Alright. Magnemite. We only have Magnemite, but my hand looks really good. So we're gonna go roll with this. Looks like he might be playing a Lost deck. A lot of people like to theme their decks after what's in them, and he has a Giratina on it, so who knows? Maybe he just really likes Giratina, but if he's playing a Lost deck, it might be problematic. Oh goodness. Oh, yep, he's definitely playing a Lost deck. It's okay. I'm gonna attach this Rocky Helmet to Magnemite. I'm gonna attach his energy to Magnemite. I'm gonna use this Nest Ball. I'm gonna get Miraidon out here as soon as possible. Miraidon, I need your tandem unit! Let's go ahead and get a Mareep. And we'll do Regieleki. I'll do Raikou next turn. And then we're gonna do Electric Generator. No basic energy. Okay, we lost out on that. That's okay though. We can't do anything. I can't attack on this turn, so I don't have anything else to use. I'm going to end my turn. Lost decks focus on throwing cards into the Lost Zone, which is basically out of play zone. You can't recover them. It's not a discard pile. But the deck benefits from that, so we're gonna use Tandem Unit again. We're gonna put Raikou and the other Regieleki in. Gonna do Energy Search. Then I'm going to play. I'm gonna do Arven. Okay. This is gonna be really risky, but I think I'm gonna have to go with it. I'm gonna take an Ultra Ball, and I'm gonna take... We're gonna take the other Rocky Helmet. Okay, Ultra Ball, Rocky Helmet, and the Electric Energy. Let's see what we have in my deck. I have both Regieleki VMAXs in there, but I need Magnezone. Then we're gonna Rare Candy, get Magnezone on there, and Energy Crush. Energy Crush is a move that gains power the more energy is attached to any Pokemon. So even if he's storing a Pokemon on the bench, I'm going to benefit from that and punish him for it, essentially. Stinking. Alright. Clever. I don't have anything else I can play, so we're gonna do Boss's Order. Get that Comfy up here, because it's gonna be a real problem, and we're gonna get it out of here. Okay, Jacques is not ideal, but I'll make it work. If we draw an energy next turn, I will be so happy. Now, the thing about this game, just like any trading card game, you can end up dead drawing. Now, I tried to make my deck a pivot deck that I could pivot to different strategies depending on my needs. But I obviously can't account for just having really bad luck in terms of drawing cards. Right, so this is where it gets interesting. I'm gonna play Jacques, and I'm going to pull out Flaffy and Regieleki VMAX. Put that down there. Put that there. Then I'm going to Dynamotor this Electric Energy to Raikou. Just to start getting him ready for the next round. We're gonna get that Starmie out of here. Because he has 2 energy attached to both this Pokemon. Oh, sweet! Just what I needed, but I'm gonna have to wait next turn to attach it. That is a really cute Inkay. Right. So, he's got Radiant Gardevoir out there. Yeah. Okay. This is where it gets interesting. I'm gonna put this on Magnezone, then we're gonna boss order that Giratina up here. Alright, get that out of here. Because Magnezone EX is not a V Pokemon, I could do full damage to him, so. He's still going. It is Pulse Launcher is the second move I just used to knock that Giratina out. It's a risky move to use because it does 30 damage to you, which is a good deal of damage to take, literally at any stage of evolution. But he's gonna be stuck a while. Yep, he had nothing else, so he conceded. But you get your little catchphrase, and then you guys get a recap of how that battle went. It did not go in his favor. He did not draw well. The RNG was not with him. But still, great game. Good game. Lost decks can be scary when you draw the right cards. But as you learn the different decks, you'll come to see what you need to use to tackle what threat, essentially. So let's do one more battle and finish up the night. Oh, fun fact, you can make friends in this game with friend requests and such, as long as you have their screen name. And you can send it to them and battle each other without ranking or even standard play or casual play. You can just fight each other to try each other's decks, which I highly recommend. If you have a friend that's into Pokemon TCG, just ask them if they want to play you and get some practice with your deck. It's usually more fun with friends anyway. Anyhow, I won the coin toss, so of course I'm going first. My deck favors going first, so this is important. Sounds like he's got the Palkia deck going on. So this is gonna be fascinating. Okay. Right, so we're gonna attach Rocky Helmet to Raikou. Energy Search, because I need an electric energy as soon as possible. Catch that. We're gonna use Fleet-Footed. Cool, cool. Miraidon, of course. Miraidon is always the first step. Tandem unit. Since it looks like Raikou's gonna be my headliner right now, we're gonna go with the Regieleki. And then I'm gonna end my turn. It's important to get these guys out turn 1 so that they're ready to evolve turn 2. Yup, he is aiming to get that Palkia out there as soon as possible. So basically, Palkia is a really, really aggro card. Very, very aggressive. 2 energy move that basically does the same thing Lightning Rondo does, but hurts a lot worse. What is this? Switch a card from your hand to the top of your deck. Okay. If you ever need to see a card, you didn't read it fast enough, or you didn't catch it, or you don't know what it does, you can just click here and click the card to take a closer look. So don't be afraid to do that either. We're gonna attach... Actually, no. Fleet-Footed, please. Okay, that's not much better, but... Let's get a Jacques out here. And sister, I only have 1 Regieleki VMAX. And Dynamotor. So the other one is currently prized. Okay, good to know. Gonna get this into Fluffy. Gonna attach this XP share to Miraidon and Regieleki. Okay, I'm gonna retreat Raikou. I know I'm discarding my only energy, but just hear me out. Hear me out for a minute. Oh, I didn't do that right. Oh well. That's okay. Switch Raikou back in. Another Fleet-Footed. That might help me next turn, but it's not gonna help me this turn. Let's Dynamotor this electric energy back. And end our turn, because we can't do anything else. Not my greatest moment, but it is what it is. Oh, here comes the Palkia. Oh. Oh. This is very interesting. I don't draw an energy next turn, I'm gonna have to make a choice. Kyurem. It's Kyurem Palkia aggro. Nice. So, stay flute footed one more time. Cool. Let's play this real quick. Awesome. No, this is a really hard choice to make, but I'm gonna do Professor's Research. Oh, perfect. It worked out in my favor. Yes. Yes. Goodness. No, actually. Retreat. Get this guy out of here. Dynamotor that energy. Onto Raikuvi again. Liquid. Beach court, nice. Not gonna play it yet. I do not want to give him that benefit yet. No. Gonna lightning rondo it. Oh, sweet. Perfect. Raikou just needs to live one more turn. That's lucky. Interesting, interesting. Hmm. He can't be dead drawing that much. There's no way. He's been shuffling his hand constantly. There it is. Oh, he got the win! He knocked out my Regieleki and my Fluffy. And just clinched the game that time. Oh! Oh well. That was a really good game. It was solid. Oh, where's my mouse? Ah, there it is. Alright, well, and that's Pokemon in a nutshell. You can have really surprising matches like that last one. And you can just have matches that are just, oh, well, I can't do anything, so I'm gonna concede. But it is a lot of fun. I hope you guys get around to checking it out and giving it a try. It's been really interesting. I definitely will be playing a lot more of this, even if not on stream, just basically on my own time. I've been having a lot of fun testing and building decks. For those of you that play in physical locations, please keep in mind that Scarlet and Violet cards will become tournament legal on the 14th of April, so next week. But they are available online and they are currently standard legal for ranked, so if you want to build your deck and get a chance to test it out before you go into in-person events, feel free to just play TCG Live. I honestly can't recommend it enough. It's a lot of fun. And it's just a great way to get more bang for your buck, at least the buck that you spend on physical cards, if that's what you purchase. And if you don't, well, congratulations, there's still an opportunity for you to build a really cool deck on this game. So, hopefully I'll see you guys around, stay safe, have fun, and I'll see you guys in the next stream. Bye-bye!